It is time for some real education, Harrison Bergeron style. All week long we've been talking about this wonderful short story by Kurt Vonnegut, and I've actually kind of been teasing you a little bit by giving you really tiny quotes, sometimes even only a sentence, because I'd love for you to go out and read this. I really would. Harrison Bergeron is a dystopian science fiction short story by American writer Kurt Vonnegut. It was first published in October of 1961. It was originally published in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. The story was republished in the author's own collection, Welcome to the Monkey House, in 1968. In Harrison Bergeron, we find ourselves in the year 2081. The 211th, 12th, and 13th Amendments of the Constitution have just passed, and they dictate that all Americans are fully equal and not allowed, and no one is allowed to be smarter, taller, better looking, more physically capable than anybody else. The handicappers, generals, agents enforce these equity laws, forcing citizens to wear handicaps. If you're tall, you are burdened with so much weight that you stoop. If you are small, you're given extra accessories to rise you up. Masks are mandated for those who are too beautiful. Loud radios that disrupt thoughts inside the ears of intelligent people and don't let them focus. And heavy weights for the strong or the athletic, gifted people in those ways. In fact, this was 1961. A long time ago, and Vonnegut's writing about where we are today. He's giving us the single best short story definition of the consequences of equity you will ever read. Take a look at today's. I'm only going to give you a sentence like this, right? Who knows better, and I do, what normal is? Hazel is the mother of Harrison. She's interesting character because she is so completely average, so completely ungifted, that she's considered more or less normal. So she's one of the few people in this whole dystopian society who does not have to wear rocks or weights, who does not have to have her intelligence undercut. She's not in any way, shape, or form completely anything other than average. She is the perfect citizen of this dystopia. And when she goes back to her quote and says, "Who knows better than I do what normal is?" I mean, it's absolutely a damning statement about this whole system. She's perhaps the one person in this whole new dystopian reality who is so completely, utterly, blandly average that she doesn't have to be helped, she doesn't have to be hurt. And what I think Vonnegut is saying oh so well here is what you're doing when you have these kinds of equity-based systems is you are by default going to the lowest common denominator. What is the lowest level of intellect, the lowest level of athleticism, the lowest level of talent in the performing arts that you could possibly have that would allow everybody to be able to participate? And when you do that, the answer is you no longer really have the performing arts anymore. You no longer really have athletic achievement anymore. You no longer have beauty in any meaningful sense. So this obsession of the left, godless, structuralist, logicless insistence on equity over equality. Why, instead of giving people equal opportunity and let them make of themselves what they can, we're going to enforce this kind of equity? Anybody who is slightly different than anybody else must be punished. And I think of the great anecdote from the ancient world where a dictator was very successful. He was able to keep his people underfoot. He was able to bully them. And so powerful was this dictator that another king was jealous, and he sent one of his envoys to visit this dictator to find out how are you able to do this? How are you so easily able to destroy any kind of difference among your subjects? Well, rather than answer, the king, this tyrant, took the envoy out into the middle of a wheat field, and he brought with him his cane, the king. And what this dictator did is every time there was a stalk of wheat that grew slightly higher than another, he took his cane and nipped the head off. So he went through all this field. So by the time he was done, he had nicked off all the shoots that had grown larger or longer than the others, so the entire field was the same size. That's your warning. Anybody who sticks his head above anybody else is going to get it cut off.